Okay, let's dive into this. Imagine getting that lifestyle, total freedom, the kind you associate with being a millionaire, ski chalets, exotic travel, controlling your own time. But the idea here, the really bold part, is you can get all that without actually having the $1 million in the bank.
Exactly. And what's really interesting in the material is this concept of the new rich, or NR. These are people who just reject that whole deferred life plan, the grind for decades and you live. They ditch that.
Right.
For the new rich, it's all about lifestyle design, LD. And the real currencies, the only ones that matter, are time and mobility.
So our mission here is to kind of shortcut this for you, the listener. We're pulling out the 4 key steps of this lifestyle design. It's summed up with the acronym DEAL. We want to show you how this approach, how it separates your income from the actual time you spend earning it. We'll walk through the steps you'd need to take. So first up is DD for definition. If the aim isn't just a massive bank balance, what are we defining?
It's the lifestyle, right? The things that money is supposed to buy you. So the shift is stop thinking about net worth. Instead, you anchor everything to your target monthly income, TMI. That becomes the focus.
Okay, TMI. And how do you figure that out?
It's a process called dreamlining. You make the vague dreams concrete. Calculate the actual monthly cost for, say, 4 specific dreams, things you want to have, skills you want to be, experiences you want to do, over maybe 6 or 12 months.
So instead of I want to be rich, it's more like,
I need $4,200 this month to rent that specific apartment in Berlin and take those German classes. It makes it real, tangible.
okay, let's run some numbers then.
Right.
Hey, living in a European capital for a month plus intensive language lessons. You calculate the rent, flights, fees, food. Maybe that's, what, $3,500?
Could be. Then you add your costs back home, existing bills, maybe that lease on the fancy car we hinted at.
And suddenly that huge millionaire goal shrinks. Becomes maybe, I don't know, $15,000 a month TMI. Still a lot, but not millions.
Precisely. And that's where the idea of access versus asset is key. Focus on the monthly cash flow needed to access things, not own them outright. The goal shrinks dramatically.
Okay, but practically. That Aston Martin DB9 example for like $2,000 a month. What about insurance, maintenance, storage? Doesn't that add up?
Well, that's where you leverage existing systems. Things like long-term performance leases, fractional ownership, access clubs. These handle the logistics. The $136,000 sticker price, it becomes irrelevant to you. Your goal is driving it, not owning and maintaining it.
I see. So you bypass the ownership headache.
Exactly. Same for travel. That round-the-world trip example, LA, Tokyo, Singapore, Bangkok, you can find deals for maybe $1,400 by using flight hacks and flexibility. Things someone stuck in a rigid vacation schedule might totally miss. Once you define your TMI, the reality often costs much less than you imagined.
Okay, so we define the target, the TMI. The next step has to be finding the time to actually hit that target, right? Which brings us to E for elimination.
Right. But before you start cutting things out, you have to deal with the big blocker.
The fear factor, yeah.
Absolutely. So there's this exercise called fear setting. You have to systematically write down the absolute worst things that could happen. Like, what if I get fired tomorrow? What if this new venture totally bombs?
And then what? Just stare into the abyss?
No. Then you detail, step by step, exactly what you'd do to recover. How would you get back on your feet?
And the point is?
The point the sources make is when you do this, you realize even the worst case isn't fatal. Financial setbacks, job loss. They're usually temporary, reversible, not the end of the world.
Right, just panty pinches on the journey of life, as one source put it.
Hey, yeah, something like that. Once you've kind of defanged the fear, then you can be ruthless about elimination.
And this is where the 80-20 principle comes in. Pareto's law.
Exactly. The cornerstone. The basic idea, which most people find surprising, is that 80% of your desired results usually come from only 20% of your efforts or time. Often it's even more skewed, like 90-10 or 9-55. Which means we're wasting a huge chunk of our week on stuff that doesn't really move the needle.
So how do you apply that? What do you ask yourself?
2 key questions. First, which 20% of sources, activities, or even people are causing 80% of my problems and unhappiness?
Okay, find the pain points.
Find the major drains.
That's it.
And second, which 20% of sources are resulting in 80% of my desired outcomes and happiness?
Find the high leverage winners.
Exactly. Focus on those, cut the rest. The results in business can be, well, shocking. There's a case study detailed where a business owner had like 120 wholesale customers. He stopped dealing with 95% of them.
95%.
Yeah, and then fired another 2%. So he was left serving only his top 3% most productive customers.
Wait a minute. Firing 97% of your customers? That sounds insane. Isn't that incredibly risky.
Okay.
What about future growth? Reputation?
That's the fear talking, right? The fear that elimination tackles. The insight was that those low-performing 97% were eating up almost all his time. Constant management, customer service issues, late payments, they were a net negative, draining profit and sanity.
So what happened when he cut them loose?
His monthly income doubled, went from $30K to $60 in about 4 weeks. And his work hours dropped from over 80 a week to around 15 immediately.
Wow. Okay, so the risk of keeping them was actually higher than the risk of firing them.
That's the takeaway. The cost of inaction was huge.
And this ties into Parkinson's law too, doesn't it? Work expanding to fill the time available.
Perfectly. So the solution is synergistic. You use 80-20 to identify the vital few tasks. Then you use Parkinson's law by setting really short, sharp deadlines for them.
Force yourself to get that 80% result in just 20% of the time.
Create focus through perceived urgency. Yes. And this also requires going on a low information diet immediately.
Maybe.
Most of the information we consume, news, social media feeds, endless emails, it's time-consuming, often negative, usually irrelevant to your TMI, and almost always unactionable.
You can't do anything with most of it.
Right. So the goal is slash your information input to dramatically increase your actionable output.
There was even that example of letting trusted friends synthesize complex info, like for voting decisions, rather than spending hours researching it yourself.
Yeah, delegating low-leverage information gathering. Pure efficiency.
So practically, what does elimination look like day to day?
It leads you to create a not-to-do list, things you actively stop doing.
Like what? Give us some examples.
Okay. Simple ones. Do not answer calls from numbers you don't recognize. Let it go to voicemail. Do not check email first thing in the morning or last thing at night. Protect your peak focus hours.
That's a tough one for many people.
It is, but critical. And another big one. Do not agree to meetings or calls with no clear agenda and no set end time. Aim for 30 minutes max. If they can't define the purpose and endpoint, decline.
Okay, so definition gives us the target. Elimination frees up the time. That cleared capacity then fuels A for automation.
Right, but this isn't about starting just any business. It's about creating what the sources call a muse.
A muse. What distinguishes that from a regular business?
A muse is specifically designed to generate cash without consuming your time. It's automated. Think selling a repeatable product, maybe an online course, or physical product via outsourced fulfillment. You're not selling your time directly, like consulting hour by hour. It needs to be scalable and hands-off.
Are there rules for what makes a good muse?
Yes, 3 main criteria. 1, it has to cost less than, say, $500 to test the market viability. Keep the initial risk low.
Okay, cheap to test.
2, it should be something you can automate the core operations of within about 4 weeks. Quick setup. And 3, once it's running, it shouldn't demand more than 1 day a week of your management time. Low maintenance.
And the key to finding something like that?
Niching down.
Yeah.
Aggressively. The philosophy is niche is the new big. Don't target dog lovers. That's huge. Tons of competition. Target something specific like training German shepherds for advanced obedience competitions.
Much smaller pond. Less competition, maybe you can charge more.
Exactly. Premium pricing becomes easier. Or the sources even mention a niche for lavish dwarf entertainment.
Okay, hang on. Lavish dwarf entertainment. Is the point there just that any super specific niche works if it's focused?
Precisely that. Find a group with a very specific, intense need or desire that feels underserved. Become the solution for them. That focus makes competition almost irrelevant and justifies a higher price.
And testing if the niche is viable. No focus groups, right?
Useless. People say yes to be polite. You have to ask people to buy, not if they would buy.
How do you do it cheaply?
Microtest it. Run some cheap online ads pointing to a simple order page. Or even small eBay auctions for a prototype. See if actual money changes hands before you invest in inventory or manufacturing.
Smart. So once you have a viable muse, then you automate and delegate.
Yes, but in that order, following a strict hierarchy, rule number 1, never automate something you could just eliminate entirely.
Get rid of it first if possible.
Right. Rule number 2, never delegate something that could be automated or streamlined further. Automation is cheaper and more reliable than delegation usually.
So delegation is the last resort.
It's the final step in reduction. You delegate tasks that are well-defined, time-consuming, and cannot be eliminated or automated, usually to virtual assistants, VAs.
And what can VAs realistically handle? Is it just scheduling?
Oh, much more. The sources show VAs doing complex web research, updating invoices, preparing PowerPoint presentations, even quite personal things like managing travel logistics for a client or finding and sending birthday cards to the spouses of key clients to build relationships. It's surprisingly broad.
Okay, so DETAA, finally, L for liberation, getting free.
This is about physical freedom, breaking the chains of location, and the core concept here is the mini retirement.
How's that different from just a long vacation?
It's completely different. A vacation is often frantic, stressful, trying to cram everything in. A mini retirement is about relocating, moving to one place for, say, 1 to 6 months. It's not just an escape, it's a chance to slow down, re-examine your life, immerse yourself in a culture at a pace where it can actually change you, give you perspective you'd never get on a 2-week trip.
And there's a huge financial angle too, isn't there?
Massive. When you decouple your income from your location, your money automatically becomes worth more, sometimes 3 to 10 times more.
Because costs are lower elsewhere.
Exactly. You can afford luxury living in many amazing places for less than standard rent in a major Western city. The examples were striking, like 4 weeks of high-end living in Buenos Aires, including round-trip airfare from New York for about $1,500, or Berlin for even less, around $1,180.
Incredible. Now, what if you're an employee? You like your job, or need it, but want this freedom. The sources mentioned a different order.
Yes, for employees aiming to stay employed but gain freedom, the sequence has to be DELA. Definition, elimination, liberation, then automation.
Liberation before automation. Why?
Because the typical office environment demands presence. If you use elimination and automation to become hyper-efficient and get your work done in, say, 10 hours a week, but you're still in the office for 40 hours, the system will just demand you produce 4 times as much output. Your free time gets absorbed.
Office vacuum cleaner effect. Sucks
Yep.
up available time.
Pretty much. So the employee needs to secure the remote work arrangement, the liberation, first. Then they can optimize their hours later.
Makes sense. So how does an employee negotiate that? How do you get remote work approved without seeming like you're slacking off?
It's usually a gradual 3-step process. First, you have to crush your performance metrics. Become undeniably valuable and make sure your results are visible and quantifiable.
Okay, step 1. Be awesome and prove it.
Step 2. Propose a trial remote period. Start small, maybe 1 or 2 days a week from home. And crucially, frame it around an external, unavoidable commitment if possible. Something at an odd time, like needing to be somewhere at 3:2 p.m., makes remote work seem like a practical necessity, not just a preference.
Oh, clever. Yeah. Makes it less about you wanting it, more about circumstances requiring it. What's step 3?
Over-communicate during the trial. Manage the perception of absence. Proactively report on deliverables. Be readily available during agreed hours. Make your boss's life easier because you're remote, not harder. Focus on results, not just being seen.
This all sounds like it requires stepping outside your comfort zone quite a bit.
Hugely. And that ties into the final piece, really. Liberation and this whole process requires embracing discomfort. The sources talk about a comfort challenge. The idea is your success is directly related to the size of your comfort zone. You need to actively expand it.
How? What kind of challenges?
Could be simple things. Practice making eye contact for longer than feels natural. Or professionally, learn to propose concrete solutions instead of just identifying problems or asking for opinions. Take initiative.
So, wrapping this all up, the new rich idea fundamentally flips the script. Freedom isn't some far-off retirement prize.
No, it's achievable now. It's based on these currencies of time and mobility, built using DEAL definition, elimination, automation, and liberation.
And there was that provocative idea connecting this back to ambition, that doing the unrealistic is paradoxically easier.
Right. The logic is that competition is fiercest for the realistic, mediocre goals everyone else is chasing. Aiming for something huge, something unrealistic, like that TMI and total mobility, it tapped into a different level of motivation. Adrenaline, endurance, it fuels the kind of action needed to actually achieve it, while fewer people are even trying.
Which leaves us, and you the listener, with a final thought to chew on.
Yeah, the material puts it starkly. What we fear doing most is usually what we most need to do.
So the challenge is, identify one thing today, something you fear, something uncomfortable, and just do it.
Because ultimately, success, by this definition anyway, often comes down to the number of uncomfortable conversations or actions you're willing to initiate.